All right. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, and thank you for joining us from wherever you are. We're going to take this time today to connect with Rajiv, who is the director of our product marketing team at Portworx, and he's going to walk us through the challenges that developer teams are facing today. But more importantly, he's really going to address how PDS, Portworx Data Services, can make their lives easier and more productive. Rajiv, thank you so much for joining us this morning. I am turning it over to you.
Thank you so much, Jessica. Hey guys, really excited to talk to you all. We're going to talk about how developers, are accessing databases, and really what they want is data services, right? And let me dive right into it. So there's a lot of complexity with modern databases such as Kafka, Cassandra, Mongo, Redis, Postgres, to name a few, right? Developers, whether you're a small organization, SMB, or a large enterprise, are being like hired to build multiple apps, right? These apps are end user applications that improve employee productivity or help customers get access to products and service consumptions, and also get support on the products they've bought, right? And get closer to the brands. So as more and more developers shape your organization's future, they're accessing different databases for things like just creating a search query or building an analytics engine or building AI/ML workflows, right? Or triggering a streaming or event service, right? These tools all require operational skill sets that your database admins need to cope up with. And typically, database engineering teams or platform engineering teams deal with up to 5 or 20, in the range of that number, database types is what we've observed. And what happens is the complexity of the number of tools that is involved in this process really makes the database admin's life harder. And then it also slows down your developers who are, typically either forced to use open source databases because of cost reasons, or they go to the cloud and get an easy button to get started with these databases. But there's always a sprawl of the number of operating tools that admins have to use to manage life cycle of the databases and all the requirements that come with scaling these databases, right? Which is maintaining a full uptime and availability for a good end user experience for all these modern apps. Also making sure that the data is highly secure and there's capabilities to do migration of databases from one location or cloud to the other. And then there's also compliance with respect to your data protection policies, right? Customers are building mission critical apps with these databases. So there's always a need to make sure that there's fault tolerance, high reliability, and also data protection and capacity management, while also making sure that these databases are performing at the highest level possible. And all of these things are making your database admins busier and busier, and they can't keep up with the complexity associated with the number of database types and also the types of tools that are available out there from each of these database vendors or cloud providers.
Yeah, Rajiv, that seems like a lot to manage. And I'm sure the complexity is really just, too much. So I know that you spend a lot of time with DBAs and developers. Can you tell us a little bit more about some of the real world challenges they're facing? Like, what is their biggest hurdle out there today?
Absolutely, Jessica. We've been having, as you mentioned, conversations with developers, database admins more so, and then of course, personas such as head of platform teams or platform architects. These are the names of people who Portworx typically talks to, and they're always all trying to speed up application time to market for newer applications, right? And what this means is that their developers need to not worry about operations related to these data services or databases. They just want access to modern databases so they can build and code their apps. They don't want to wait for provisioning of databases. Sometimes it takes weeks or even months for developers to get access to an enterprise grade ready data service, right? And they also end up doing governance and security sometimes on their own, or lifecycle management if it's a small organization. Now, if it's a big organization, then you typically have like 2 to 5 or 10 database admins, depending on the number of database instances and types they're running. And oh my God, maintaining those databases, making sure that all the platform and database versions are upgraded to the highest level. There's enough skill sets and tools available to actually scale those databases, and then making sure databases are reliable, right? That is a big nightmare.
Yeah.
Now, the cloud databases might, solve some of this complexity and say, you know what, don't worry about lifecycle management, we've got it, right? But then that triggers a lot of costs for the platform engineering head, right? And that also is a concern for them, right? Besides the fact that they have to hire specialist database admins or SREs for each individual database in their organization. And then on top of that, platform architects prefer to pick a platform that is hybrid and multi-cloud ready, right? Databases sometimes need to be managed in a public cloud or in an edge environment or on-premise or in multiple cloud locations, right? Platform architects want to always choose an architecture or a data platform that supports all of these configurations, right? And again, if database admins have spare time from not doing lifecycle and not doing worrying about reliability of these databases and uptime, then they'll spend some time on securing those databases and making sure there's encryption and maybe some performance tuning. So they're like admins are getting really busy, and this has always been the case. When back in the day there were only a few databases to manage, but now the complexity is just increasing rapidly with these 5 to 10 different database types showing up in your organizations.
Yeah.
So with that, let me sort of talk about Portworx Data Services and why we built this one platform for any database. Last year we shared the vision to deliver a fully managed database platform as a service. We call it Portworx Data Services. Essentially what it does, Jessica, is that it is a one-click database as a platform to deploy, operate, and scale any database on Kubernetes. Portworx understands Kubernetes storage really well because of its background. And we'll talk a little bit about the overview of Portworx towards the end. But essentially, we want to give these customers and heads of platform teams and database admins the flexibility to not be locked in one database approach, right? So we want to give them one platform that allows them to run any database on any cloud or any Kubernetes infrastructure, right? And the ability to actually not only deploy these databases in a few minutes, but also operate them with a single pane of glass and secure them consistently with 24/7 enterprise grade support, right? What we want database admins to avoid is dealing with each vendor of different databases and actually come to Portworx for support of all databases. And that will also free up a lot of their time, besides freeing time from lifecycle management.
I'm sorry to cut. Sorry about that, Rajiv. Yeah, I'm like excited about this, right? Because that's a bunch of time back in someone's day. So that's really, really great. Hey, I have a question. I see many popular database logos up in the corner over there. Some of them are colored. Can you help me understand why that is?
Good eye. I would say that today, Jessica, we support 6 databases on Portworx Data Services, and we're constantly looking to expand the number of databases supported on this platform. Okay. So the ones that you see in gray are coming soon, within the next 3 months or 12 months. The ones that you see in color are the ones that are supported today. So I'll just re-mention that we support Kafka, RabbitMQ, Redis, Zookeeper, Postgres, and Cassandra on Portworx Data Services today. And the platform has been available since mid of May this year. And yeah, we're really excited. There's a lot of interest from customers to have this single pane of glass for any database in their environments.
Cool. That's really, really good to hear. Okay, so this seems really effective at just giving time back in a developer's day. Can you tell me more about how PDS translates, or PDS, I'm calling PDS Portworx Data Services for short, right? How does that translate into actual business results?
Oh, that's a question we get all the time, Jessica. And we took some time to talk to our customers and figure out, what these outcomes are. And as you mentioned, first and foremost, we want to speed your application developers, right, that are using these databases. And so our claim to fame here is that we can cut down time to market for new applications by up to 50%. If your developers took 30 days to launch a new feature or build a new application, then with PDS, they would be able to get access to enterprise grade, scalable, highly secure databases within a minute. And so the weeks and months of wait time that developers have to go through sometimes just to get access or maintain or operate or govern these databases is all given back to them, and that helps them focus on building applications. So that's the first outcome we're driving, time to market for new apps faster and cut into half, right, for all your developer teams. Now, if I think about the productivity of database admins, we are actually feeling pretty good about claiming that we can improve a database admin's productivity by 3 times. And that's a very game-changing outcome that our customers are resonating with and actually finding value in the platform for. So because of the number of databases that are available and the fact that admins have only 40 to 50 hours a week that they have to work, right, like all other folks, they tend to spend a third of this time to actually keep the databases highly reliable. And that's what Portworx helped with, right? We have always given fault tolerance, cross-zone availability, and making sure that your data is always highly available for containerized workloads. We're now transferring that capability onto modern databases that we just mentioned. So admins don't have to worry about that. We're giving 80% of that time back to them. The other third of an admin's time goes to maintaining lifecycle management, right? And so we're giving 80% of that back as well, because Portworx will upgrade and make sure all databases supported are fully up to date. And that way, database admins don't have to worry about any of that. Things like patching and other things, we take care of that in the managed DBaaS platform. On top of that, we also help with a few other workflows like protecting these databases, giving observability for these databases and things of that nature, which is that single pane of glass I was mentioning, which translate into admin productivity. And then in the future, we may come up with more elements that increase this admin productivity further with performance tuning and also adding more databases to this single pane of glass. But today, we feel pretty good about the 3x productivity.
Hey, that's impressive. And if someone could give me more time back, I would jump all over it. So I know this is important to people, right? This is, really powerful stuff. Can you let us see how Portworx Data Services actually works? Can you walk us through the product?
Sure. I would like to cover one point real quick. Very happy to actually switch into a demo right after. So I'll just remind you guys, this is the one platform for any database. It's hybrid multi-cloud ready. So your platform architects also get the flexibility to choose Portworx and sort of give your organizations the flexibility they need to change a cloud provider, right? Today's cloud databases are very tied and locked in to the provider that provides them, right? So if you're using an Amazon RDS, you can't really shift all of those databases somewhere else. With Portworx Data Services, we actually allow you to do that and give that flexibility, right? And when you start having 5 to 6 databases in your organization, which is becoming very common, this kind of flexibility really helps. And then on top of that, I also want our viewers to know, Jessica, that we can help you run and operate these databases and save up to 75% of costs associated with the cloud infrastructure that's underneath, and also the operational cost of the headcount that you're going to save, or like with time given back to the headcount and team that you already have. So I just wanted to leave folks with that outcome as they think about Portworx data services.
That's really powerful. Okay, let's get to it, Rajiv. Let's see how this thing works.
All righty, let me pull up the demo real quick and I can go into that. So what I'll do is I'll show the UI and show how easy it is. Are you able to see us logging in?
Yeah.
All right. So this is how you log into Portworx data services. You see that the 6 data services supported were there. You can click on it and build a demo cluster. I'm just going to call it a demo cluster and connect it to a namespace, put a default application config and also a storage template associated with that database. Right now, we'll just say one node and then say that, you know what, we'll schedule backups later, no scheduled backups right now, and hit deploy. And as you see, within a minute, a new data service is provisioned and it's already running on top of an infrastructure that you've allocated it to. At the back end, this is connected to one of the Kubernetes clusters that your organizations have chosen. So this can be on-premise or in the cloud or even in the public cloud, right? So what we're showing now is that you can do a backup pretty quickly. Now that a database is running, this is how easy it is to take a backup copy. And of course, this is going to be faster because the database is empty right now. But the workflow, as you see, is just a few clicks. And we're also now showing you how in a few clicks you can scale this database from a single node to a second node, right? And there it is. A new node was created with the same kind of config, and it is already running, as you can see it real time. When I was referring to that single pane of glass for observability, as you clearly see, you can observe all of the trends and consumption of these nodes that are running your Postgres database. So that's Portworx data services for you. And within 2 minutes, we were able to not only deploy a database, but also scale it and also create a backup copy.
That's awesome, Rajiv. Thank you for showing us. Okay, so let me make sure I got this right. PDS is shipping now and it's generally available, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Can you talk to me about how our customers are using PDS today? Like, what benefits have they seen from running PDS in production?
Thank you, Jessica. That's a very good segue. I'd love to talk about some of our, early wins. And one such customer is in the financial services industry, and they have chosen PDS to run Cassandra, Kafka, Redis, and MongoDB in the future. And essentially, the reason they chose this was twofold, right? They're able to see that their developers are able to launch apps faster with this, right? They're not needed to wait for provisioning of infra. And then they also love the fact that their databases can get automation and efficiency and security across the board with the right reliability, which a banking organization would need, right? So that's like something that was sticky for this customer. If I switch this to another healthcare company that I can't name that chose PDS, they wanted to reduce operational complexity along the board and also make sure they get that flexibility I was talking about. So they want to be able to run databases in a private cloud and also some of them in a public cloud, right? And the data services they chose were streaming and messaging as a service. So specifically, they chose Kafka, Postgres, and RabbitMQ in their environments to run, operate, and scale these to their developer teams using Portworx data services. And then lastly, I'd also love to talk about an insurance company that is just using this platform to offer Postgres and MySQL to their developer teams. And for them, the compelling part was the return of investment that they got because they gave their admins time back and made their admins more productive, but they've also giving developers time back and improve time to market for these applications. So yeah, we've been like seeing this theme resonating across the board with the adoption of data services. Jessica.
Hey, thank you for addressing that. Appreciate it. Okay, so I have another question for you. Portworx has been part of Pure Storage for about 2 years now, and a big reason, at least my understanding, is that a big reason for this merge was because Portworx is the most powerful data platform for Kubernetes. Can you tell me a little bit more about what makes Portworx such a big deal?
For sure. Would it help if I just give a quick overview, Jessica, of what Portworx is and
I,
talk about our differentiation there?
I think that would be helpful to me, yeah.
Okay, let's do it. So, just to step back, right? We have continued to build the Portworx platform, and this is a good view for seeing what Portworx is, right? Today, we end up solving a lot of the problems for the platform engineering teams, right? These are folks like head of platform teams, platform architects, DevOps engineers, Kubernetes operators, and also database admins, right? And what this team essentially does is brings developer tools and make sure that developers are fully supported to build applications faster and that their apps are highly reliable, highly scalable, high performant, fault tolerant, and also highly secure, right? So to me, Portworx consists of that ability to operate, scale, and secure both Kubernetes apps and databases anywhere, right? And the common glue that Portworx has always had close to its architecture, and the reason we call it the #1 Kubernetes data platform, is that it works with any Kubernetes operator. So if your customers have chosen Red Hat OpenShift or Amazon EKS, Portworx doesn't care. It works with any Kubernetes service, including the upstream open source Kubernetes service available, or tools like Rancher, or other cloud provider Kubernetes services like VMware Tanzu, Azure AKS, Google Kubernetes Engine. Portworx works with all of them, right? And it is the standard for cloud native storage for all of these Kubernetes services. And guess what? It also works with any cloud or infrastructure. So if your customers have storage provision for containerized workloads on the edge or in a private cloud or across any of these public clouds, Portworx will work with all of them as the standard data platform layer for Kubernetes deployments. And then the third piece, so we talked about like the database as a platform, that's part of Portworx, right? That's Portworx Data Services. We just talked about data management, and that the product name for that is Portworx Enterprise. That's the product that has been shipping for over 4 years, and it is the standard when it comes to deploying Kubernetes in production for our customers. The third product that Portworx portfolio also consists of is our data protection offering to help you protect apps anywhere. We have Portworx Backup, right? And disaster recovery is something that you get as an additional add-on for Portworx Enterprise customers to bring that near sync DR capability for these mission critical applications. So if in any case there's a disaster, your data is absolutely available. You get the best possible industry leading RPO and RTO times for our customers. And frankly, this is why Portworx has continued to be recognized, Jessica, by GigaOm in both radars related to Kubernetes storage. So there's an enterprise radar where Pure gets ranked along with Portworx as #1. And then there's a cloud native Kubernetes data storage radar where Portworx by itself, working on any platform out there, is far ahead of competitors, right? And we're really humbled to be #1 in this category for the last 3 years. Of course, the reason for this is all of the platform benefits we talked about, but also the fact that a large part of the Global 2000 have adopted Portworx. So I'm showing a very small subset of our customers here. Of course, we have a much larger list, and hundreds of customers around the world are constantly adopting Portworx. We have net new logos being added every day. And we also value the partnerships with our public cloud and hybrid cloud vendors, such as Amazon, Red Hat, VMware, Azure, Google Cloud, and IBM Cloud, right? So Portworx has joint go-to-market motions and technology partnerships with all of their Kubernetes and cloud storage stacks.
Yeah, that's a lot of flexibility. That's pretty amazing.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
exciting.
that's
So, I mean, that's all I had, Jessica. I just want to remind folks that, Portworx Data Services is, truly the database platform of the future. And, it's shipping today. We have massive interest in this. Customers are just, getting their hands on it and really excited for what we have to come. And like I said earlier, we're going to continue to improve admin productivity, time to market for new apps, bring in more cost reductions for all these databases, and expand that support matrix for these databases while making sure that all the databases have a standard way of implementing security, making sure there's zero downtime, and a lot of cross-zone availability. Things that Portworx did for cloud native storage, we're expanding that to all the modern databases with this platform.
wow. Yeah, that was a lot of really great information, Rajiv. Thank you. This is exciting. I mean, you can't really put a number on how important it is to give developers the time back in their day, right? To let them go and drive business results forward.
Indeed. I mean, even small organizations are hiring hundreds of developers.
Yeah.
So that impact only increases with the number of developers and apps you have building as an organization.
Awesome. Okay, and this is shipping now, correct?
That's right.
Okay, cool. All right. So everybody, I'm just wanted to let you know that after this webinar, you'll get an email so that you can we're simplifying the process. You can email me directly at my personal professional email address, and I'll put you in touch with the next steps for setting up a trial if that's something that you want to do. You can always read more about Portworx Data Services online. We have a very valuable blog too, and you can follow us on LinkedIn or on Twitter. But yeah, we hope that this is valuable information to you and potentially that you've found a solution to your database challenges and complexity. Rajiv, anything else that you'd like to add before we button it up?
No, I think I'm good. Unless, Jessica, you have any questions in the chat, we can certainly stay on and answer them.
I don't see any questions right now, but anybody out there in GoToWebinar land, if you have any questions, feel free to submit them here. I think that there's a little chat box that you can use. And of course, we're happy to be in communication afterward and address anything. We can get you in touch with Rajiv, or we can get you in touch with the Cloud Native Architect who can really take you into a deep dive. All right, amazing, everybody. I hope that you have a wonderful rest of your day, and thank you so much for spending part of it with us. Take good care. Bye, Rajiv.
Thank you. Bye, Jessica. Thanks, everyone.